You've always played Rose.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, you're right. Always Foxy. And, but then what happened?
I haven't always played roles. I have played nuns and I have played Mother Superiors where...
Remember her? She was the unforgettable bombshell of the 1970s, Stella Stevens, a Hollywood icon. She wasn't just another pretty face, but a trailblazer who lit up both film and television with her undeniable talent and magnetic charm. Rising to fame in the late 1950s, she quickly became one of Hollywood's most sought-after leading ladies, balancing sultry, intimate appeal with impressive versatility. From her breakthrough in the 1963 classic The Nutty Professor to her unforgettable role in the 1972 blockbuster The Poseidon Adventure, Stevens proved she could shine in both comedy and drama. Often compared to screen sirens like Brigitte Bardot, Raquel Welch, and Anne Margaret, she carved out her own place as a true Hollywood legend. But time has a way of dimming even the brightest stars. She was the forgotten actress of Hollywood, and in the last stage of her life, she even forgot herself. Join us in this video as we look back at the life and career of the woman who embodied glamour, strength, and star power like few others of her time. Stella Stevens, who the world would later know as a Hollywood bombshell, was born as Stella Caro Eggleston on October 1st, 1938 in Yazoo City, Mississippi. When she was just 4 years old, her parents, Thomas and Dovie Eggleston, decided to move their little family to Memphis, Tennessee, in hopes of a better life. Thomas made a living as an insurance salesman, while Dovie worked as a dedicated nurse. Growing up as their only child, Stella was the center of her parents' world. Her early education began at St. Anne's Catholic School on South Highland, and a few years later, she continued her studies at Sacred Heart on Jefferson Avenue during 1953 and 1954. Back then, she was still simply known as Estelle Eggleston, long before Hollywood gave her a name that would shine on the big screen. On December 1st, 1954, 16-year-old Estelle Eggleston married her 19-year-old boyfriend, Noble Herman Stevens, Jr., a Memphis electrician. Within a year, the young couple welcomed their only child, a son named Herman Andrew Stevens. Despite the challenges of being a teenage bride and new mother, Estelle remained determined to complete her education. She attended night classes at Memphis Tech High School and graduated in 1955. After graduation, she enrolled at Memphis State University, where she discovered a passion for acting and modeling. Her talent quickly caught attention. The Memphis Press Scimitar gave her a glowing review, and she found work modeling at the Goldsmiths department store Tea Room. Around that time, a press agent from United Artists encouraged her to come to New York, promising to introduce her to 20th Century Fox executives if she arrived before he left town. But while Estelle's ambitions were growing, her parents still hoped she would abandon Hollywood dreams and settle into a quiet Memphis life. By 1957, her marriage to Noble Stevens had ended in divorce. The case was filed under mental cruelty, a common legal term at the time when uncontested divorces weren't an option. Reinventing herself as Stella Stevens, she began chasing her Hollywood career. Her breakthrough came in 1959 with a small role as a chorus girl in Bing Crosby's musical Say One For Me. Although Debbie Reynolds was the film's star, Stella's performance stood out enough to earn her the Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year. With help from actor Deck Powell, she landed a 6-month contract with 20th Century Fox, earning $250 per week. That role also led her to play Appassionata von Climax in the musical comedy Lil Abner, a performance that got her noticed in Hollywood. Still, success came with setbacks. Stella didn't realize she was supposed to obtain a work card to prove her employment, so at the end of her 6-month contract, Fox terminated her. That same year, however, Paramount Pictures signed her to a 7-year contract, initially promising her the lead role in a biopic about actress Jean Harlow. The part ultimately went to Carol Baker, but Paramount continued to push Stella's career forward. In January 1959, Stella represented Hollywood at the inauguration of the governor of Oklahoma, where her parents flew out to see her and arranged a brief reunion with her young son, Andrew. By then, Noble Stevens had full custody, insisting that the boy deserved a normal upbringing in Memphis, away from the glare of Hollywood. But in May, Stella secretly flew to Memphis, retrieved her son, and took him back to California, vowing, "I'm keeping him with me no matter how much trouble it causes." Her fears for his safety soon intensified. In July, she discovered suspicious footprints beneath Andrew's bedroom window, which led Beverly Hills police to place her home under 24-hour surveillance. Then on April 25, 1960, her worst nightmare came true. 5-year-old Andrew was abducted from her front yard by 2 men in a car. 2 days later, Stella learned that it was Noble who had taken Andrew back to Memphis, where he still had legal custody. Determined to fight for her son, Stella prepared for a custody battle in Tennessee. But her case was complicated by scandal. Just months earlier, she had posed remove clothes as Playmate of the Month in January 1960. She was paid $500 for the shoot with the promise of $2,500 more if she agreed to serve as a hostess at parties, an offer she refused. Stella suddenly found herself facing harsh judgment. The Memphis Press Scimitar ran a scathing article criticizing her for appearing in the magazine, painting her as reckless rather than ambitious. By August 1961, after a long 2-year custody battle, Stella Stevens finally won the right to raise her 6-year-old son in Tennessee. The court still allowed her ex-husband generous visitation, but custody was firmly placed in her hands. Around that same time, Stella's acting career was gaining real momentum. From 1961 to 1966, she became a familiar face on the medical drama Ben Casey, where she played Jane Hancock, a woman who wakes up after a 15-year coma and soon falls in love with Dr. Casey, played by Vince Edwards. She appeared in an impressive 153 episodes, which cemented her as a television star. While filming the series, Stella was offered a role alongside Elvis Presley in Girls, Girls. Initially, she refused the part of Robin Gantner, which angered Paramount so much that they threatened to fire her. In the end, she agreed to do the movie, though she later admitted she never watched it, dismissing the storyline of Elvis choosing another girl over hers. Her scenes filmed in Hawaii only took 6 days. In 1962 and 1963, Stella also became the face of Coppertone suntan lotion, which further boosted her magazine exposure. Then in 1963, she appeared in The Courtship of Eddie's Father, playing Dolly Daly alongside Glenn Ford, Shirley Jones, and a young Ronnie Howard, later known as Ron Howard. The story followed little Eddie, played by Howard, who wanted his widowed father to remarry but disapproved of his choices. That same year, she starred with Jerry Lewis in the now classic comedy The Nutty Professor. Stella played Stella Purdy, the kind and beautiful student who falls for the awkward professor who, after drinking his special potion, transforms into a slick ladies' man, only for the effect to wear off at the most embarrassing moments. By 1964, Stella was back on screen with Glenn Ford in Advance to the Rear, a light-hearted Western comedy about a group of unlikely Union soldiers guarding the U.S. Treasury. Stella played Martha Lou Williams, a Confederate spy posing as a saloon girl, adding sparks of humor and charm to the film. In 1964, she also signed a contract with Columbia Pictures, further cementing her Hollywood presence. A year later, in 1965, she bought a beautiful new home for herself and her son at 2180 Coldwater Canyon Drive in Beverly Hills. During this time, her glamorous image was everywhere. Stella posed for in 1965 and again in 1968, and throughout the decade, she was one of the most photographed women in America. Life around Stella was never short of surprises. She once employed a maiden cook who went by the name Kitten Natividad. After leaving Stella's service, Kitten reinvented herself as both an actress and a well-known adult film star, a story that only added to the wild anecdotes surrounding Stella's Hollywood life. By 1966, Stella appeared alongside Dean Martin in The Silencers, part of the Matt Helm spy comedy series. Martin played a retired secret agent coaxed back into action, with Stella adding her charm to the espionage-filled adventure. In 1968, Stella returned to the big screen alongside Dean Martin in How to Save a Marriage and Ruin Your Life, adding another hit to her growing filmography. 3 years later, in 1969, she starred in The Mad Room opposite her real-life lover, actor Skip Ward. Their romance had started in 1967, but it lasted only a year after the film, ending in 1970. That same year, Stella sent her son Andy back to his grandparents in Memphis, while Hollywood was gripped by fear following the tragic murders of Sharon Tate and her house guests. Stars everywhere worried they might be next. It wasn't until Charles Manson and his followers were arrested and prosecuted that the industry could breathe again. In 1970, Stella took on the role of Hildy in one of her most beloved films, The Ballad of Cable Hogue, starring Jason Robards. Director Sam Peckinpah stepped away from his usual gritty westerns to craft a comic tale about a hobo prospector left for dead in the desert who discovers a source of water more valuable than gold. Hildy, the town's girl, is far from the typical hook with a heart of gold. She becomes the first woman to truly live west of the Pecos. One unforgettable scene shows Cable trapping his old enemies, Taggart and Bowen, in a hole and dropping rattlesnakes in on them, a moment that's pure cinematic gold. Filming took place in the harsh Nevada desert, and when bad weather halted production, the cast would retreat to a local bar, running up a staggering $70,000 tab. The shoot went 19 days over schedule and $3 million over budget, leading Warner Brothers to fire Peckinpah, completely unaware that Cable Hogue would eventually earn praise for its direction and become a financial success. The film remains one of the standout performances for both Jason Robards and Stella Stevens. Stella recalled that the male cast members were less than thrilled when the female cast arrived in the desert. They wanted to drink all night and work hard during the day, flaunting their macho bravado by smoking, drinking, chewing, and even peeing out the window. To stay safe, the women stuck together as a united group, navigating the wild shoot in solidarity. In 1972, Stella Stevens took on the role of Linda Rogo in The Poseidon Adventure, a gripping tale of passengers struggling to survive after a luxury ocean liner flips upside down following a massive underwater earthquake. The director made a striking choice to film Stella climbing a ladder while everyone else looked up, creating one of the film's most memorable moments. 3 years later, in 1975, Stella starred as Lucky in Las Vegas Lady, alongside Stuart Whitman as Vic. The story followed Lucky and her two friends as they plotted a daring heist at a Las Vegas casino. This film also marked the beginning of Stella's on-screen collaborations with her son, Andrew Stevens, who would go on to become an accomplished actor, director, and executive producer, eventually leading an entertainment group responsible for producing over 200 films. In 1978, Andrew, then 23, met actress Kate Jackson, who was 29 at the time. Stella recalled that Kate seemed genuinely fond of her son, and it was clear he reciprocated her feelings. Unfortunately, their marriage was short-lived, ending in divorce in 1981. Beyond her career, Stella invested in her personal life, purchasing a sprawling 101-acre ranch in 1976 in the Methau Valley near Twisp, Washington, at the eastern edge of the Cascade Mountains. Although her name was often linked romantically to various actors throughout her career, it was in 1983, while working on a film, that she met her lasting love, rock guitarist and producer Bob Kulick. The couple would share Stella's Beverly Hills home for the next 3 decades, building a life together away from the Hollywood spotlight. In 1988, Stella sold her ranch in Washington. The following year, she stepped behind the camera to direct her son Andrew in the ranch. When his character, Jack, quits the agency, life takes a darker turn. He's now determined to confront the man who destroyed his life, no matter the cost. On May 1, 2002, she faced another heartbreak with the passing of her mother, Dovie Estella Carroll Eggleston. 3 years later, Stella's contributions to Westerns were formally recognized when she received the prestigious Real Cowboy Silver Spur Award. However, around 2011 or 2012, she began struggling with speech and expressing her thoughts, challenges that grew more serious over time. Bob Kulick cared for her as best he could, but her condition demanded constant attention. Diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's, Stella's life changed dramatically. By early 2015, she sold her Beverly Hills home, which she had cherished since 1965, and her family placed her in a Los Angeles facility specializing in memory care. Her greatest fear, they said, was wandering and getting lost or accidentally stepping into traffic. Bob Kulick, along with her son Andrew and family, visited Stella often until his passing in 2020 at the age of 70. Though Stella Stevens now faces the relentless challenges of Alzheimer's and may no longer be aware of her many achievements, her legacy lives on. For her fans who still watch and celebrate her films, Stella's remarkable contributions to cinema will never be forgotten.